So I am delighted to announce NYU Steinhardt's plan to launch a new teacher residency program. Common in the medical and legal fields, residencies or fully embedded professional learning experiences are still quite rare in teacher education, particularly ones that integrate knowledge of practice with knowledge of content. Candidates for the new embedded Master of Arts in Teaching at NYU will be full-time mentored residents in public schools across the country. But using 21st century tools, they'll draw on NYU-based content expertise every day for this one-year program. For NYU teacher education, this is the next step in a long history of innovation. 125 years ago, NYU became the first university in the United States to establish a school of pedagogy, a school that, in the words of its founders, raises the art of teaching to the same dignified plane as the professions of law and medicine. From humble beginnings, here's our library circa 1900, Steinhardt became a persistent innovator in teacher education, continually exploring new methods to serve the diverse and pressing needs of learners, generations of learners across content fields. In the early 20th century, we added music education and arts education to our programs of study and founded the Journal of Sociology and Education in 1927. From 1935 to the 1950s, a special program at NYU Steinhardt enabled 140 African American teachers barred from graduate study in Maryland by segregation laws to come to New York and earn their master's degrees during summers and weekends. We were also pioneers of teacher education abroad with a program for Puerto Rican teachers to pursue a master's degree in education, the first on the island. Our innovations have long focused on urban education. The NYU's Metro Center, for example, which stands for the Metropolitan Center for Research on Equity and the Transformation of Schools, is now nearly 40 years old. Our innovations have long involved technology too. Just after the Second World War, NYU Steinhardt made its first foray into EDTECH before the term was invented by hiring Charles Siepman, who was then the BBC's director of radio talks, founding director of radio talks. He came here and created a Department of Communications in Education. Today, we're reporting that over the past year, the NYU Faculty in Teaching and Learning undertook another EdTech adventure, working in the most collaborative ways possible, reimagining from scratch the preparation of secondary teachers and calling upon an equally innovative partner.
So at HOTCHALK, for a Silicon Valley company, we have some beliefs that may land as unconventional, even controversial. So you're probably not going to agree with all 5 things I'm about to say, but they really matter to understanding the vision in NYU's announcement. And the first thing to know is that the future of EdTech and higher education is not all about a MOOC. Massive open online courses add value. One professor can broadcast to 15,000 people or 1,500 people when you consider 10% completion rates or less. But either way, it doesn't really matter because the potential of the internet is not just about scale. It's also about intimacy. At HOTCHALK, we think in ratios of 1 to 15. We ask, what can technology do to bring together one professor and 15 students? And this can scale too, but we think about it as scaling not as 1 to 1,500, for example, but as 1 to 15 times 100. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is professors are not going away. Now, I know this is an EdTech conference, and software can definitely teach some great skills, but ones and zeros are not enough in teacher preparation. And at the end of the day, this is because Teachers are part of a profession. And when you think about what it means to be a profession, who defines it? Who regulates it? Think about it. At the end of the day, the professionals themselves self-define the profession. They self-regulate the profession. Professionals determine entry to the profession. And the gatekeepers to the profession are professors in the profession. So professors are not going away, which leads to point number 3, which is that degrees are not going away either. And for the same reason. And I know, again, it's an EdTech conference, and online badges are awesome and will play a big role, but the degree has always been, and is, and will always be the entry ticket to professions. So that's number 3. Number 4, I'm here to tell you that the killer app is, we don't know yet. Nobody knows. It is still really early days in online education. And as with the introduction of any new medium, it's going to take some time before the full potential really unfolds. Like, think about this medium. When television was first introduced in the 1940s, the first thing we did with it is we put radio actors on TV to read their radio scripts. You know, think of music television. In the 1970s, there was a number of television shows that basically took concerts and put them on television. Now, MTV would not be what it is today if they had basically come up with the big idea of taking a Super 8 video camera to the front row of a Madonna concert. Instead, what they did, instead of broadcasting from the front row of some concert, they put on cable as their first ever music video this. Does anyone know what this is? Video killed the radio star. Just saying. So I am not here today. We're not here today. We're definitely not here today to tell you that our technology is the only thing making possible NYU's incredibly visionary announcement today. But what we will say is that data is going to really matter. And at the end of the day, HOTCHALK joins NYU Steinhardt in believing that data can be put to use not just for marketing and retention, although it should be, but also put to use to improve pedagogy itself. That class after class and semester after semester, we can engage in a relentless pursuit of continuous improvement of the quality of teaching. So that leads to point number 5, which is that online needs to make education better. And some people think that going online is some kind of grand compromise, like it's done in the name of efficiency, or done in the name of scale, or done in the name of accessibility, and that's all great. Maybe some people are going online just because 2016. But we have to believe, to do this work, the work that you're doing and we're doing, you have to believe that online is in some tangible, measurable way going to be additive. And that in the final analysis, what happens online will be measured by what it makes possible offline. Which is why we are so delighted to incorporate into our technology platform an application called Torch Talent, which makes possible one-on-one observation and support for emerging educators across geographies and across time zones, so that at the end of the day, we can have better prepared first-year teachers and better outcomes for the students they teach.
So if you guys have been paying attention, one thing should be abundantly clear by now. This is not NYU's first rodeo. This is not a startup operation. They've been around the block a few times, and they've done fairly well. This is an organization that has a storied history and past. So what's different? What's different about the EMAT program? I'd like to posit that what makes the EMAT program different is its innovative use of technology in ways and at a scale than was previously attempted. And as an example, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about one of the ways in which technology can influence one of the most important processes in the teaching process, the reflective cycle. The first part of a reflective cycle requires that a teacher capture classroom practice and reflect on it. But how do they do this? How did teachers capture classroom practice in the past? They didn't. It was hard. It wasn't easy. But this is all about to change. This program is going to require that all teachers capture video evidence of their classroom practice through an easy-to-use online platform. And they can all use the devices that they have in their pockets, their smartphones. From there, they can upload that video to a platform and reflect on practice in a safe and secure cloud-based environment. We all know that students today are very mobile and will continue to do so. As a 21st century institution, NYU will meet their students where they are and will facilitate anytime learning. But we also know that teaching is a very lonely profession. After all, you go into a classroom, you close your door, and you teach. When you have a problem, it's sometimes hard to get in front of your colleagues to get help. But video changes all of that. Video will facilitate the ability to do asynchronous collaboration with your colleagues and peers around a piece of evidence. And then you can collect the feedback from your colleagues and peers and watch it on demand. But how do we know that our student teachers are learning? How do we know that long-held beliefs are changing? Where will we get the data? We will measure the progress of our students through multiple ways. We'll deploy a variety of assessment tools, including existing rubrics, and even some tools that are not yet created. And once we understand the strengths and weaknesses of our students, we'll continue to coach them up. Coaching and mentoring is a critical component of this EMAT program, and it will include ongoing rounds of remote synchronous coaching that would not otherwise be possible at scale other than using a technology platform. The innovative use of technology is a hallmark of the EMAT program, and we at Torch are incredibly proud to be a part of the future of teacher education.
Candidates for the EMAT program will be embedded in schools from the very start as resident interns in a school within one of our partnership districts or charter networks across the country. They will take part in the full rhythm of school life, serving as teaching assistants, aides, tutors, and in other capacities related to students' needs, while also learning in a classroom within one of the secondary content areas of math, science, social studies, and English. Embedded in either a middle or secondary school classroom, each resident intern will spend at least 9 hours a week working under the supervision of a teaching mentor within the school and a team of NYU faculty members who will support his or her pedagogical development over the course of the year as the resident intern goes from assistant teaching to co-teaching and ultimately takes over lead teaching with the support of the teaching mentor in a process that we call a gradual release model. While learning to teach with the support of a teaching mentor, interns will also be supported by NYU faculty cohort leaders who have special education and literacy backgrounds, and by NYU content mentors who will provide discipline-specific guidance. All of the modules in our program will include attention to special education, literacy, working with emergent bilinguals, and educational technology. And our focus will be on helping our interns build facility in the high-leverage practices, those acts of teaching that make the most difference in outcomes for learners. Perhaps the most radical element of the Steinhardt program, though, at least for the faculty members who are used to teaching in a traditional university, is that the program will consist of 10 modules, each 5 weeks long, that will be offered sequentially over the course of a year. So the learning will build from one module to the next, and all of the coursework will be integrated fully with the field work in the schools using the kind of feedback and observation that Courtney described. And those observations and feedback will take place every week. Our partners will be strong, effective, research and data-driven school networks and charter networks across the country in high-needs urban settings. Our instruction is totally context-centered, allowing our interns to build on the diverse socioeconomic, developmental, and geographic assets of their students within school settings. The cohorts of interns that we will be building will be small and intense learning communities where resident interns will study teaching and learning deeply and creatively, and where they will also have the opportunity to practice and ultimately master those high leverage practices that are most likely to make them effective teachers. Again, our ratio is 15 students to 1 faculty member. So why are we doing this? Because we hope that this kind of intensive residency model will become the rule and not the exception in teacher education. We invite you to join us in leading this transition in the hopes that within 10 years, the vast majority of new teachers will start their careers in high-quality, full-time residency programs. Together, we can ensure that first-year teachers nationwide are prepared for classroom teaching, making a difference right from the start for their students and for those students' lifelong outcomes. Thank you.